order to make money. It's not what you write for. You're writing to get published. You're writing to get some exposure. You're writing to make connections. I want to network with other writers. I want to network with people who want to start a magazine. I want to network with people. I want to be there. Whether the magazines are for or against what I believe, I don't care. I want to write for them. I want to be established. That's why I don't pick party sides. I don't pick religious views. I don't attack certain individuals, and I do not, I repeat, I do not put out my personal, honest opinion on anything that I can somewhat get away with. If I have an opinion about, like, say, the New York Giants or the New England Patriots, for example, I'm not going to let that limit me in writing an article about them or writing about them in general or putting out an editorial where I do have where I do show my opinion, but I show the opposing side. It is all about making your availability broad in that regard. Now, the second part is the books. I've talked about this a little bit earlier in the first part of this, but here's the truth. You're probably going to need a good 10 years, and I understand this. I hate the concept of this too. I wish I could be published tomorrow. But to legitimately publish, you're going to need about 10 years or more of, I'd say, education on the subject. You're going to need about 5 to 10 years of actual publishing experience before you can even start to begin to negotiate your terms in books. A lot of people discuss unionizing writers, and I'm against that because I feel that hurts the writer as a creative individual because it makes us a commodity. Now, I could be wrong. This is the only thing I'm very strong about. I'm against unionizing freelance writers. I've always been against it. It doesn't allow me to pick and choose my terms. The fact that if I was unionized, say someone wants to pay me $125 per article. If I'm unionized, I have to then take a certain portion of that and give it to some group that's never going to protect my job anyway. And secondly, it's going to limit and stifle that $125. It may go down to just $25 now. It's a disgrace. It is a disgrace to the market, but I see the point of it for younger, artisans trying to break into it. And I think that they should get a break. I think that they are the future of writing, and realistically, let's say, we don't know who's going to be a great writer. I'd rather, if I owned a magazine, take good articles from no names, give them $40 per article, $50 per article, because then if they become famous, they become the J.K. Rowling of next year, I can say, hey, look, I can reprint that article and get double the ad revenue out of it. It's business. But we don't do that anymore because we as a society look at the millennials, which I am unfortunately a part of. I do not find myself to be a millennial. Many of us call us, Gen X instead of millennial, but I fall into that category in between. I am very close to Gen X. So I have nothing against it. I think if I have to consider myself a millennial, I do believe that in regards we are given a lot of slack for no reason. I think we are a very hard-working generation as a whole. I think we're harder working than past generations. Old generations always want to say everybody's lazy, and the truth is there's no such thing as lazy. Technology makes us lazy, and that's the problem. And that's just going to be a problem that, the founders, which is the next generation afterwards, and their kids are going to have to deal with. That's just life. But going back to writing, going back to book selling, your book is likely not going to be successful, nor are you going to be able to even get published. Books are harder to sell. They cost more money to print. It's not like a magazine ad. It's not even like an internet magazine. A physical copy of a book costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time, and there's only so much space. It's limited. You better have your best foot forward if you want to publish a physical copy of your book. Or publish it through the e-market. If it succeeds, it can be reworked, re-edited, maybe made a little bit better, and then sold. You have to give publishers a sensitive, put you forward, to push you through. But, the market itself is pretty easy to figure out. What do we do? What do we do as writers? Here's the simple fact. Take your best work, query it, send it everywhere. Send it to unsolicited. Send it to people who only take new writers. Send it to anywhere you can. Publish some of it. Market the hell out of it. Use your social media to your advantage. You have hundreds, if sometimes not thousands of people who follow you. Use that. And if you accumulate everyone who follows you on all of your social media, you got thousands. Maybe tens of thousands of people. And guess what? Those are tens of thousands of potential buyers to your work. Go online, search for freelance jobs. You don't need a degree to do freelance work. They don't care about your background, they don't care about your experience, especially if it's fiction. Write the story, send it in. If they want more information, you send it out. Likely, they're going to take the story regardless of your experience. Nobody cares. If as long as they read it, they like it, they want to see more of you, then they'll take more work from you. That's how it works. That's the fundamentals of writing, especially freelancing. Secondly, write for your local newspaper. Send in opinion, editorials. It doesn't matter. Granted, editorials are, they're not articles in the sense, but they are still read. People like to read opinions, especially their own opinions. And sometimes they really like to read the opposite opinion. Write an editorial about something you're passionate about. See if you can do a local spot. They always are looking for freelancers because it's cheaper than putting everybody on staff and sending them out to God knows where to do an article. That's what I suggest. That's what you should do. And finally, on this particular piece, I'd just like to say that, in regards to writing, it is it's a tough job. It's a tough job. But if you want to get published, it is possible. And, as a young writer, you can do it. It is not impossible. No one's holding you back. You just got to do the footwork. You got to do the legwork. You got to get out there. You got to get in the field. And you got to talk to people. Network with other writers. Network with other people who are obsessed with it. There are plenty of writing groups online. Don't send your work to anybody who isn't in the business, though. There's plenty of plagiarism, although it's rare. The fear of plagiarism is actually quite rare to see anybody's work get stolen or published under another name. And finally, I'd say, as young writers, and I am one myself, I'm not that old. It is imperative that what you do with your work is that you take it, rework it. Don't obsess over it or get someone else to edit it, because editing your own work is not a simple thing, especially if you have any doubts on your abilities or if you just doubt yourself. There's plenty of people who do that. It's impossible to be a writer and write and edit your own work without having some bias. It's going to happen. So in that regard, I say to you, thank you for listening and have a great night. And, leave a comment if you want. I always appreciate a good comment. But we'll probably discuss this later on in another topic. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.